This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carinante.
Whoa, welcome to the Yanks Go Yard podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib alongside Thomas Carinante. I got back from Tampa, Florida at 9:20 a.m. this morning. I was up at 4:20. Blaze it. I feel like I got like some congestion. I feel like my ears have AirPods in them. And Ryan Weather's 99.8 mile an hour fastball somehow did not pop them on the way down, which is crazy. Made it to Yankees Nats last night. I was there. I also went to a Phillies game in Clearwater, and then I did a whole bunch of stuff that was not baseball related because I'm nice to my wife. But it was great going to the game. I got a little bit of reflection there, and I go to bed last night. And the last thing I see before I fly out is Randal Grichuk. All right, okay. $2.5 million if he's in the majors. I think he's going to be in the majors. We're going to be talking about what we saw last night. Of course, it's hard to keep up with spring training. It moves so fast. But the Ryan Weathers pinstripe debut in the real jerseys with the real hats was notable, too. Did you notice that, too? They had the pinstripes and they had the regular old Yankee hats instead of the grapefruit guys with the gray brim. Like, they wanted to make that look like an event. And in a month of meaningless games, it kind of weirdly was. It's at least one that you'll remember, maybe. But more reason to be concerned about Cam Schlittler, maybe. More reason to be concerned about Giancarlo Stanton. This is just routine pain maintenance, but it really sounds pretty unpleasant to be that guy right now. Plus, players we're excited about, trends we like, and potential trouble spots as we get acclimated to probably like a week plus of spring training ball with another month on the horizon. Thank you for joining us every Monday and Thursday, typically on YouTube, 2 o'clock Eastern time, live, plus on your favorite podcast feed, the audio feed afterwards. So please rate and review us there. We'd love to see some 5 stars. If you can't go 5, if you're feeling like it's a 4-star experience, let us know how we can get better, but just don't leave that review. Leave us nothing and reach out to us personally. I'm Adam Weinrib, at Adam Weinrib, Thomas Carinante, at Tommy's_takes. Just give us the feedback, but don't drop it on the platforms. Thomas, welcome to the show. February. It'd be nice if February were over, I think.
Be nice if winter were over. This is never ending here in the Northeast. Glad you got to experience some Florida. I know it's been a little bit nicer down there. Spring training, though, at least from afar, has been fairly tame for the Yankees. I think we're sitting here encouraged by what we're seeing for the most part. I think we should get into the Giancarlo Stanton injury at the top of the show here. But look, everyone's reported. Everyone's going through the motions. There aren't a whole lot of position battles to sort out. So at this point, what I'm looking for is health, is reps, is build up for pitchers, guys improving on areas of their game that they were struggling with previously. Jason Domínguez at the forefront of that. If we're going to talk about areas of the roster where the Yankees need to greatly improve with what they have already had the last couple of years. So outside of the Cam Schlittler delay, that was a result of a lat injury apparently suffered in July, and now this Giancarlo Stanton stuff, I've largely been happy. But the Giancarlo Stanton comments cannot be ignored. This is from Randy Miller of NJ.com. I know sometimes there are some sensationalist takes over there.
Of course, that's who it is, by the way. Like, we got to talk about it, but of course that's where it comes from.
But these are direct quotes from Stanton, and it's not like anything was embellished. I think some fans on social media were calling it an overreaction. I don't know how you call this an overreaction, because 2 weeks ago we had Aaron Boone telling the media that Stanton is doing great, had an excellent offseason, and is a full go for spring training. Since then, which was February 11th, it is now February 26th. We have seen 0 videos of Giancarlo Stanton taking batting practice. He has yet to appear in a single game. And obviously, we have not expected Giancarlo Stanton to be in a game because of the natural slow ramp up he gets every year with how cautious the team has to be with his health situation. But now we're saying, okay, you lied to us 2 weeks ago, Yankees. Or Aaron Boone was, you go through the whole quote, and Aaron Boone says, actually, I haven't seen Stanton yet, but I heard he's had a really good offseason and he sounds ready to go. So you didn't see your player, and you're assuming he's a full go, but he arrives at full training and he's not a full go. Unless we have different definitions of full go, right? Full go to me is you arrive at spring training, and you are ready to participate in whatever it is immediately. Baseball activities, live BP, simulated games, actual regular games, which started last Friday. And Giancarlo Stanton has seemingly not been ready for almost all of that. So he talked about his elbow issues, which he's obviously dealing with tendonitis in both of the elbows. He told Randy Miller that some days he can't open a bag of chips or open a bottle or a can. So I don't know how that could be considered a full go. I understand Giancarlo Stanton is really hell-bent on getting the Yankees to where they need to be, whether that include logging a full season and getting them to the World Series or that World Series title. But you can't tell me on February 26th that we're hearing about these issues and we're going to expect Giancarlo Stanton to participate in a full season of baseball, something he has not done since 2018. Not being pessimistic, not getting down on Giancarlo, I don't wish to do any of that. Again, we have stressed trying to just take all these things as they come because it's the nature of spring training and there's no reason to get critical and angry about anything, but there is reason for concern here. If his elbow injuries are still bothering him to this extent, I don't know how we can't be concerned about his longevity for the 2026 campaign.
Yeah, I just think I wouldn't say I'm more concerned after hearing this than I was before. I just think it's a harsh reminder that this is the reality of 2026 Giancarlo Stanton. Like, the full season stuff is all bluster. I don't think it's as much of a lie as, say, the Cam Schlittler stuff, a lie of omission. And I'm going to go in on that. And again, we're mostly happy, and everyone seems to be mostly in a good place for now. And there are going to be some people who aren't in a good place. So that's how spring training works. But bottom line is we haven't seen Giancarlo Stanton yet. I don't disagree with that decision. We know he doesn't have a full season's worth of reps in him. So that means he doesn't have a full spring's worth of reps. Why would you waste some of those reps in February if you don't have to? But I think fully healthy Giancarlo Stanton is just this guy at this point, is just a guy in pain who is giving all he has to roll out of bed. He had one of his most productive power seasons last year, but it was in a small sample because he had horrific elbow pain and had to wait until the summer to contribute. And so you've got a guy who can't play the field. I mean, they tried a couple times last year. It was depressing. Yeah. That's not the guy we acquired. That's not the world-class athlete we used to have. Mostly the Marlins used to have, but we used to have at some point. And it's not ideal to have a full-time DH who can't be moved around on the 2026 Yankees roster, especially when he's showing up for camp basically reporting that, like, off the field, my life is hell, but I do all it takes to compete for the New York Yankees. It's admirable, but it's horrible to hear. So I don't know if anyone was lying about this. I just think the healthiest version of Giancarlo Stanton you're going to get right now is a guy who, if he even hopes to play a full season, which he does, can't be playing right now. And then you wonder, how does he get his timing back for the regular season? And when in the regular season does he show up? Because it was a miracle he was able to hit the ground running last year when he did. He never seems to do. And why would he? Because he's starting a swing that's proven to be extremely complicated. Like, it looks so simple, but when it's not working, it's just flailing. So a swing that clearly needs a lot of moving parts mechanically, all synced up for it to work. He doesn't usually get off the couch and hit right away. He did last year. He had like a couple of days or a week where it was like, this might just be over. And then he went on a tear, unlike any we've seen. I don't expect him to play, this week, next. It'd be a pleasant surprise. I just think this was a reminder of the harsh reality that we face rostering Giancarlo Stanton at this point. And so he is easily one of the number one spring disappointments so far, just because it won't go away. And I'm not going to call Cam Schlittler a similar disappointment. And his issue does seem minor, and it seems to be on the other side from his throwing arm, which will impact him. He has not built up to the point of appearing in a game yet. Aaron Boone thinks he's going to be ready to give 70 pitches at the start of the season and get piggybacked. And I weirdly think that is okay. I'm not being alarmist. I think he has, they have enough pitching that if you have 1 to 2 starts of Schlittler build up when the regular season starts, you'll be able to deal with that. And you have caddies and whatever. That is far from the end of the world. But it's not the severity of the injury that gets me here. It's this one's a lie. This one's an actual lie. I understand why you don't want to tell us these kinds of things, but Cam Schlittler showed up with his mid-back soreness, and they slow played him, and he stopped throwing off a mound. Then he got back to bullpen sessions. He faced hitters yesterday, and Boone said he checked out all right, and that's fine. That was February 13th. Or whatever, that you reported this soreness. But he had the soreness last year and said, I never really took some downtime at the end of the season. That's on me. It went away, but then when I started working out again, it came back. And again, this seems like not so severe an issue. He's clearly pitching through it right now. He clearly pitched through it last year when he had a historically good playoff game. But just tell us. You don't have to tell us last year. I'd like if you told us last year, but if you could just tell us at spring training when Aaron Boone said, they asked him day one, is anyone showing up with any mystery injuries that we don't know about? He was like, I actually don't think so. I think we're good. I checked everybody out, and I actually think this year of all years, we actually don't have any of those. And then 2 days later, Cam Schlittler has this back thing. Oh, with the Yankees, luck. He showed us for spring training healthy, and then something flared up right away. It's a shame that Boone said that 2 days ago. No, he showed up to spring training with some pain from August. So don't tell us everybody showed up and there were no injuries that hadn't previously been reported, because there's one. I found one. So if I found one, that means there weren't none.
Yes. It's how we were sold both of these injuries. Giancarlo Stanton's a full go, but can't do basic human things. Don't know how that computes. And Cam Schlittler, they framed that one in a way to downplay the potential severity, right? Like mid-back, you're thinking, he Ben Riced it. He slept wrong, and you got tight in that upper shoulder blade area. You got to loosen it out. But no, it's a lat, and we know how severe lat injuries are, especially with pitchers. Ryan Weathers, new Yankee, we'll talk about him in a second, missed about 8 weeks last year with a lat injury. Clark Schmidt missed almost 3 months with a lat injury last year.
Yeah.
Luis Gil had shoulder lat issues last year that knocked him out for the first 4 months of the season. So I think that they know what they're doing. They're trying to disguise some of these things and not have the reporting at spring or just the general blogosphere going after these injuries that, they're in a sense, they are kind of non-stories, right? Like you mentioned, the Stanton thing's the Stanton thing. We've already known this. We've known that the elbow issues were going to affect him his entire career. That's what we were told after the World Series in 2024. Said that he battled through this throughout the 2024 season and that the injury's not going away. Surgery could address it, but the doctors said that it's probably just going to be something he has to deal with as long as he's swinging a baseball bat as hard as he swings a baseball bat. And we know how hard Giancarlo Stanton swings. So that was never a problem. The problem was telling us that he's ready to go the second he arrives in Tampa, and that's not true. The problem with Cam Schlittler is that you're telling us nobody's arriving to spring injured. He's arriving to spring with 6-7 months of an injury that's been lingering, and now it's delaying his start to the spring. And as we learned yesterday, is delaying essentially his readiness for the season. Aaron Boone is right. I'll take 70 pitches of Cam Schlittler any day of the week. Yeah, absolutely we will. But was that part of the plan? Was that part of the plan to tax the bullpen early on in the season? Was it part of the plan to have 3, 4, 5 piggyback starts for Cam Schlittler to begin the 2026 season? I don't know how this would affect him in the long run, but again, the concern exists because if it's existed since August and now he's being delayed during the crucial buildup moments of the 2026 season, I don't know how we say, oh, this won't be an issue in June. What are you talking about? It's like, obviously it very much is on the table to be that type of issue. So you have did Ben Rice play first base yesterday when you were at the game? Who played first? Yeah. Was he in the game?
Yeah, he did.
He did. He was in the field. Okay, good. Because he DH'd his first game on Monday when his ramp up was also slow due to the stiff neck. And I noticed that he wasn't playing both sides of the ball. And I said, great. So this is another situation that's probably more severe than we're being led on to. But now that the fact that he's in the field, last night's game, It was the first game I didn't tune into at all. And it ended in an hour and 40 minutes. I got a message saying Yankees Nationals about to start. I was like, oh man, I'll check in a little while. And then like less than 2 hours later, it was like Yankees v Nationals 7-0. I was like, oh cool, that's great. But in terms of spring training standouts so far, but besides that, we made a signing, folks. We made a pretty big signing.
Last night was crazy for so many reasons. I mean, the game being so short was weird. If you're going to these spring training games, you kind of have to leave a little early. And I hate leaving baseball games early.
Yeah.
But if you have a car, I guess, if you're trying, it's, decide at your own risk if you want to enter the traffic on Dale Mabry Highway or whatever. If you're trying to do rideshare, you cannot subject yourself to that. Like there is no, we all know the tricks. If you don't want to order a car to the rideshare zone, you go to like a Friendly's or a mom and pop drugstore or whatever. I go stand a couple blocks from the stadium and get it there. There's nothing around George Steinbrenner Field.
Nothing.
It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium is the closest local business. There was like a year 3000 Alien Strip Club that was like a 10-minute walk down the street. If you wanted to do that, I guess you could, but you have to leave a little early. And we had a crazy early flight today, so we were like, honestly, the bench that they had last night, not bringing their best. Like it was Caden Kent and there's like a Grizzolonic in camp. There's like it's Ali Sanchez came in and they published the bench. And when I saw who was going to be on that group of subs, I was like, yeah, I think we can go when the starters come out. Like I'm not going to make my wife sit through that stuff. So in the bottom of the sixth, we just kind of hightailed it out of there. And then we were like 12 minutes away from the stadium and the game was over by we walked through the stadium in the bottom of the sixth, got in a car in the top of the seventh, and it was like, it had to have been like 18 or 19 minutes later the game was over. It was crazy. And part of that's because of Ryan Weathers, who I don't remember the last spring training debut that was like this, where, okay, Weathers is a guy who's battled injuries in the past. We know that. So he's being unveiled last night. He goes 1 easy inning, 2 easy innings. He's hitting 99.8, fastest registered pitch, highest velocity ever to come out of his left arm. He's dotting the slider. He had a couple changeups that looked great. Revamped sinker, saw everything you wanted to see in 2 innings. Then he goes a third. I'm like, this is actually weird. Usually these debuts are 2 innings long. He comes out for the fourth. He almost finishes it, but then he gets taken out in the middle of an at-bat. I'm like, Aaron Boone obviously has a plan in place. He must have hit a round number. He must have hit 45 pitches. Now it's 49. Like the limit was 49. Your limit was Ron Guidry based. Like that's the only explanation I can come up with for that one. Hopefully he's okay. It seems that way. But they look incredible last night. It's a quick game. We leave. We get back. Watch Survivor 50. Shout out to the premiere. And I'm getting ready to go to bed because I have to. I don't like forcing myself to go to sleep early, but you just have to do it. I open my phone. The last thing I see before I go to bed is we sign Randal Grichuk to a minor league deal. $2.5 million if he makes the team. And he's going to make the team. I think they've been begging to send Jason Domínguez to AAA. They have been playing chicken with Randal Grichuk forever. Domínguez was not impressive. One of a few starters who was in the lineup last night. Domínguez, Rice had an off night. It is what it is. Rosario cranked a home run on the first pitch of the game from the Yankee side offensively. Domínguez just a long fly ball that was longer than it looked like it should have been off the bat, and some weak contact. Otherwise, made a nice play out in left field. Looks discernibly a little bit bigger, and you're never going to get me to admit under penalty of truth serum that he should be traded for whatever they can get for him at this point. I'm going to be team keep Jason Domínguez permanently, forever. AAA Jason Domínguez is not my ideal outcome, but it is what it is. Grichuk, I don't know how they managed to get him, 34-year-old Randal Grichuk, on what is not a major league contract unless it translates, unless they carry him. And he had a down year last year, objectively. The OPS was down in the low 700s against lefties and 85 OPS plus overall, 273 OBP, subtracted almost 1 WAR and under 300 at-bats. He was not the Randal Grichuk of old last year, and he was especially horrible after he went from Arizona to KC at the deadline, a 59 OPS plus 566. Those are Yankees Andrew Benintendi numbers. But this is not only just a guy who's killed the Yankees over the years, but has crushed lefties. The expected stats against lefties last year were much, much better. He was great as recently as, I don't have to check the history books for this one, 2024, when he hit 291 with an 875 OPS overall a 139 OPS plus as a part-time player, 106 games. If you carry him from the jump on your bench, you have a real human adult bench if you're the New York Yankees. And I would much rather have Randal Grichuk than Austin Slater. And Slater, it looked like was going to take a big league contract if they made a $1 million offer to him early in the run it back offseason. And he turned that down, and he ends up signing a minor league deal with the Tigers. If it's a battle of the minor league deals and it's Grichuk and Slater, and Grichuk is a slightly more expensive one, but still signed in the same capacity, I'll take Randal Grichuk all day and bet on the history rather than bet on last year. I'm not going to stand here and act like this is the missing piece and what a difference maker, and the Yankees have gotten a hidden gem. And I mean, I could say that about Max Schumann after last night. I watched him and I was like, damn, this guy's versatile and pretty cool. Maybe he does Oswaldo Cabrera better than Oswaldo Cabrera does at this point. Laid down a nice bunt, tested the Nationals' horrible defense, blind a single up the middle. But Grichuk, is a known quantity and isn't a major commitment. And you're talking about the Tommy Pham school of grinders. He's that too. He's a good, solid fielder. I will take him in the mix. Absolutely. And it was refreshing to see that last night, them going off the board a little bit.
Yeah, I think it is what it is, right? Grichuk was rumored for the Yankees since December alongside Slater and who was the other one? There was another free agent that was underwhelming where everyone was like, really? Slater would have embodied the run it back Yankees. So I think it was good that they didn't end up agreeing there, because that just would have been overkill, and it would have had everybody talking about the same nonsense over and over again. In terms of other options, I know Joel Sherman mentioned Chas McCormick, who's with the Cubs right now.
Yeah.
He's also on a minor league deal. He has an opt-out March 21st. There's a real competition over there. They got Kevin Alcantara, former Yankees prospect, and Justin Dean competing for that 4th, 5th outfield spot, whatever they're looking at. But right now it's who? It's Seiya Suzuki, PCA, and Ian Happ. So they're set. There is the possibility that Grichuk lights up spring training. And look, I still think the Yankees roster is set. I don't think they're going to be running with Randal Grichuk over, I don't know. The Athletics projected bench was JC Escara, Oswaldo Cabrera, Paul Goldschmidt, and Ahmed Rosario. Don't forget, Ahmed Rosario plays the outfield. So I don't know how extensive this need is for a right-handed outfield bat. Is what it is, though. It's gonna foster some spring training competition. I think that's fine. Based on the number that he's going to make if he makes the major league roster, I kind of just don't see it. It was $2.5 million, which, guess what, folks, is actually $5 million, because the Yankees are in the full 110% tax threshold now. For every dollar they spend is $1 and plus more. So just looking at that, you're wondering if that's even a possibility. He would have to light the world on fire, or of course injuries would have to happen, and the Yankees would say, great, well, we have a major league talent who can help us in April and or May. And if it has to extend beyond that, then so be it. We'll get our money's worth, but it doesn't do anything for me. But I would keep an eye on McCormick, though, because if he ends up performing well and the Cubs view that as an asset to trade before he can opt out, or he does perform somewhat well and just gets beaten out by the other guys and opts out, that gives the Yankees a potential better option, and someone who Sherman said they have liked McCormick for years, which is news to me. McCormick was an Astro. I think we all know him from his days there. He was particularly good from 2021 to 2023, and then kind of just fell off a cliff. 2024 and 2025 dealt with some injuries. Just wasn't the negative WAR player both of those years. Not a whole lot here. I don't think this is going to foster a whole lot of competition. And we'll probably see these guys opt out and look for opportunities elsewhere. But it's important to know, because if there is a personnel or a depth issue, these are the next guys up. And yeah, the career numbers off left-handers for Randal Grichuk is certainly encouraging for what the Yankees need to accomplish here.
If you like Chas McCormick for years, Yankees, I have great news for you. You could have just gone and gotten him because he was available for years. But hey, maybe this year's the year. I like Randal Grichuk a lot. At least I like the dart throw. I like taking the chances. Ryan Weathers took the cake yesterday, I would say, in terms of early spring storylines. We don't overreact to spring training here. I'm not going to go insane over the metrics and stuff. The people posting graphs basically saying Ryan Weathers yesterday was the best pitcher in Major League history. Like that, I can't abide by. This is
but it was good.
Nationals lineup in a fake baseball game, but the stuff took a real tick upwards, and the Ryan Weathers problem is staying healthy. The Ryan Weathers problem is not nasty stuff, although it was partially the shape of the fastball, the cutter usage, sinker modification, and still working on that changeup. And he seemed a bit reborn in a lot of those areas yesterday. So hard not to put him among the early spring standouts. What players are you excited about so far after what you've seen? I got to give, Ben Rice did not have a great day for me, but I got to shout him out. George Lombard's defense, I got to shout it out. I haven't seen much. I've seen Lombard 3 times in Somerset, Hudson Valley, and last night. Every game he had at least one slick defensive play, and then it seemed like he was just taking walks, which nothing wrong with taking walks, but when you're trying to scout and watch somebody, you're like, oh, another walk. No one threw him anything. Just slop. Okay, got it. And then yesterday he made this crazy barehanded play at third, and then roped a 108-mile-an-hour line drive double over the left fielder's head, which is pretty much exactly what you want to see. You've got the young pitchers, Cade Winquist stuff, maybe not the results. Carson Coleman coming back healthy in the bullpen. And Paul Goldschmidt's hot start, part 2.
Pretty good.
I don't know how long it lasts. He homered today, just about 20 minutes before we started doing this show. He had a bomb off Tyler Rogers and the Jays stadium, famously a righty, not a lefty. I don't know what Goldschmidt's good for. I can't give you all-star campaign this year. He knows he's a bench player, right? That's the mentality.
Yeah, I hope.
Last year, his all-star campaign didn't even last to the all-star game. There was a moment in May where you were like, I think Paul Goldschmidt's making the all-star game. And then Aaron Boone started advocating for him. He's like, I think I'd be taking my guy Goldie. And then the numbers start to sag. And then it gets to the point where it's kind of ridiculous. And you're like, yeah, I don't think he's taking him. And this year, I don't think you can even hope for an all-star case to be made. But early in the spring, there have been some nice reminders that oh, yeah, valuable when healthy and used right. I forgot about the future Hall of Famer who's got raw power still and is worth our time and has made a little tweak to his stance with the hands. You see, they're not quite as horizontal as they were last year. Maybe it works. He's a smart man. So who are you looking at early and you're saying we know it doesn't matter, but that opened my eyes a little bit.
I agree. I'm looking at all the young guys. I don't really look the one veteran who I'm pleased to see getting off to a fast start is Jose Caballero, just because he's going to be so important in the early going. It's nothing crazy. He's 3 for 8, but they talked about his adjustments he made at Driveline this offseason. Who knows if that's going to make any changes, but you like to see somebody hop into spring training and get off to a fast start when there is that spotlight or those question marks around him. I wouldn't say there's question marks around Jose Caballero, but he's taking over shortstop to begin the year, which is a tall task. It's a tall task for most people. And we know that he has to kind of deliver if there's going to be these Anthony Volpe questions, or he needs to be a consistent force in some capacity, whether Volpe's not ready when he's ready to come back, or if we want to actually have a battle of the positions to see if we're going to get production out of the shortstop position, which we haven't in quite some time. But I'm looking at all the young guys, dude. That's it for me. Elmer Rodriguez, I think, has largely looked really good. LaGrange, the stuff is there. He's been the talk of spring training for, fans outside of the Yankees orbit. So that's how you know that the hype is getting serious. Lombard, playing third base is pretty awesome, right? Filling in and just doing I don't know. Is that a utility option for later in the season? Is that you never know what's going to happen. Ryan McMahon's reworking his stance right now. He's gotten more narrow, correct? He's gotten more narrow.
And he ripped a double to start this. He's looked great and calm and steady in the first week and a half of spring too.
Yeah. So, the numbers aren't quite there for him. He's got 2 hits, they batting 2 something, but he's testing something out. It's all this is going through the motions, getting the reps and getting comfortable. I've liked what I've seen out of Max Schumann. I understand he's not a young option, but that's someone the Yankees traded for and are viewing him as a potential utility guy who can hit left-handed pitching. because again, they don't have enough right-handed hitters. So I don't think that no one's blown me away just because of my expectations for spring training, or like, get there, do what you got to do, and just don't be an abject disaster. And usually everything sorts itself out. But and you got to, I think Ben Hess is another part of this equation. He pitched against the Pirates on Monday. It was, I think, 3 innings. He gave up a run, 2 hits and 2 walks, I believe. Most of that damage came in that 3rd inning. He was clearly a little bit gassed. He approached 50 pitches, but the first 2 innings were lights out. He gave up 1 hit and 1 walk and struck out 5. And I watched those innings live, and I was like, oh my God, the break on his pitches was incredible. The life on his fastball was really good. So it's one of 2 things. And the same thing goes for Rodriguez and Lagrange. It's either we're looking at a very promising wave of young Yankees pitchers who can, I don't know what the situation is going to look like. Do they take over for Will Warren and Luis Gil if those guys don't come through? It's possible. Are Gil and Warren used as trade fodder for something else, or is a combination of these 3 prospects used for something else? Whatever it is, I like seeing the young players perform and rise to the occasion in spring training, because it is overwhelming right when you get there. It is overwhelming when the expectation is you have to get off to a fast start. Like, how different is spring training, just for example, if Lagrange and Rodriguez get tattooed in those first 2 starts? We know what it looks like. Jason Domínguez bobbled the first ball of spring training and people were freaking out. Admittedly, it was an ugly defensive play and should never happen, but you know what the repercussions are if you're there and you're not performing up to expectations, or at least just doing what you need to do. So I like the composure with this young group of players, these top prospects that can be used in a multitude of ways. And it bodes well for the Yankees if they need depth, or if they need to go out and acquire somebody else via trade, because I think the assets now are speaking for themselves, as opposed to them being, Yankees nonsense helium. As Joel Sherman mentioned multiple times this offseason, that like Jason Domínguez was internal artificial hype from the Yankees to, I don't know, justify the reason they gave him $6 million or whatever it was back in the record-setting number and whatever it was, and all these other guys who they paid an international free agency or spent a first-round pick on and were talking up and never delivered. Now we're looking at a group of guys who, kind of flew under the radar. Ben Hess is not really a household. You looked at his last year at Alabama, it was bad. He still ended up being a first-round pick for the Yankees, but there was a lot to work on there. There was no like exponential hype around him. Elmer Rodriguez came over in the trade with the Red Sox. Like, he came over as like a mid, I think he was like top 15 prospect at the time. He's already top 3 now, looking great. Lagrange was a guy with a lot of tools that they weren't sure that they could put together. Goes from the bottom of the farm system all the way to the top. Ben Rice, same thing, bottom of the farm system, unranked all the way to the top. So I'm liking it. I'm liking that these young guys are holding their own at the very least, and whatever happens. It's good to see that you have the depth and just the overall composure for these young guys to come into camp and say, hey, I'm getting the first start of spring. I'm going to show them what I'm made of.
Yeah, Rodriguez is such an interesting case because Hess, it's like the breaking stuff and the fastball, just the heat and heft on it stand out. Lagrange has thrown 103. That stands out. Elmer Rodriguez, you're like, all this stuff is good. It's like plus, but there's no defining pitch, and there's no, how do you describe him to somebody who is asking you what makes him special? And you're just like, all this stuff is good, and then somehow it just works. Like, it's a very
wind up is great too. I haven't seen a pitcher with that kind of wind up in so long.
Different body type. It's a very throwback arsenal. And if you're throwing that in a rotation with Fried, Schlittler, Rodon, you've got heavy sinking fastballs and like bona fide heat. And then you've got a guy who throws 96, but it's just like 96, 84, 88, 91, 96. Like, it's odd. It's the change of pace we've been asking for. It's a number 3 starter, or maybe it's a number 4, but it's a guy in game 4 of a playoff series. You're like, we got to face, we just got geared up for Schlittler. Now we got to face that weirdo. Like, it's very fun. And so I've been really enjoying watching him. And again, today, he's been similarly enjoyable. So that's now 2 in the books for him. In terms of what it means, where do these guys go? Will Warren is such an odd case because he hasn't done anything disappointing. He looked great in his first spring start too. He looked great every start last year except for these smoke bombs against the Dodgers and Blue Jays and real bona fide contenders. I don't like shrugging those off and pretending they're not a problem. It's a problem when you have these awful starts and you look like ass against the top teams in the league. Like, well, he was actually really good, and the stuff was ticking up as the year went on, and the metrics love him, except for these starts against the best teams in baseball. Yeah. Well, he faced the best teams in baseball and got pasted. So I can't mark it down yet, but he's too good to lose a rotation spot at this point. Luis Gil is the trouble spot for me because if the velocity is where it was in his Rookie of the Year campaign before he went down midsummer, then he's a number 3, number 2. Like, if he can harness the control and command, he's a number 2. I think the toothpaste is out of the tube. I don't think he's ever going to be a command guy. But if the velo is like 98, 99, he could take over a game for 7, 8 efficient innings. If the velo stays at 93, 94, if he's going to have to sacrifice a little bit of it to find the corners. There was a weird start last year where he just clearly was throwing like 93, 94 against the White Sox, but it still got the job done. And after the game, everyone's like, so he's hurt. They're like, no, he's just doing this. We'd actually rather he doesn't, but he is. He has to sacrifice one for the other. And his first spring start, he was fine. Not great. Velocity still wasn't upper echelon. It's a very clear 1-to-1 with him. If he finds the velocity, he can harness it enough that it's valuable. Very good pitcher. If he can't, number 5. And so at that point, if he's a number 5, no shame in that. But if the Yankees have Hess and Rodriguez and LeGrand stays a starter, and you got to make room for Will Warren, and Ryan Weathers is doing what he did yesterday on a more consistent basis, that Gil, you can't just trade pitching depth, but maybe this is blasphemy, but I would rather trade Gil for a lesser return if all these dudes prove that they can handle a big league workload than trade Jason Domínguez for slop right now. Like Domínguez, what's his future? I'm not sure, but you never have too much pitching, but if you have like 3 upper minor starters that you can trust and you have a full rotation and you have Ryan Yarbrough, you don't really need Gil as an SP 10 or whatever. So I'm not saying I would give him away for nothing, but I'd rather trade him for a return that makes me go, oh, that's not great, than I would trade Jason Domínguez for the same thing. Ideally, no one trades anyone, and he finds that velocity, and he gets off my list of spring training bummers and trouble spots. But right now, it's hard not to be happy with what you're seeing. Yeah. Most of the trouble spots are the injury lying. Like, I'm annoyed that they keep lying to me. But other than that, I like what I'm seeing. I don't love Gil. I wish I saw the velocity in the same way that I see it from other guys. Austin Wells got to master that ABS system, bro. He finally got off the Shania, got his first hit of the spring today. And then Jason Domínguez, again, I feel like I just missed the hits. The slash line looks, he's like 2 for 8. I don't think I saw him. And I saw the viral bobble, and I saw him yesterday.
You see the double against the Pirates? That was a rip.
I did see that. Yeah. Not live, but the replay. That was rip. He had a long fly ball yesterday, too, and I'm telling a different story. It was hit just about as hard as the Rosario ball, and it carried to the right field wall, not over it. If that gets out, like Jazz's did today by 1.5 inches, then I'm talking about how he's 3 for 8 with a homer and a rip double. Instead, it's kind of like, I feel like your AAA fade is inevitable, and I didn't really see much to dissuade me. I'm rooting for the guy, though. I can't get down and just go bust screaming. Like, I want Jason Domínguez to do well, and I want him to do it here. I don't want to give him TJ Rumfield. We gave an opportunity to in Colorado. He's got 2 home runs already. That's awesome. Never playing first base here, and I don't think he should have played first base here. Jason Domínguez, I'd like to see succeed here. So this isn't a list of busts. This is just a list of spring things I've seen so far and gone, not my favorite. And the number one is still lying about injuries. I hate that more than I hate any individual performance.
Absolutely. It's insulting, and fans don't like, it's just tell us what's going on because we're already invested in so much. It's like, we can't have more of this anxiety in the back of our mind, wondering if there's going to be a random occurrence that is a result of you not disclosing information. But in terms of Domínguez, I'll get to him in a second. Wanted to comment on Gil and Warren one last time. Gil, we got to remember that he's still on an uphill climb, right? He missed all that time with an injury last year. He came back. He still wasn't himself. He did not get he didn't really end up getting the consistent length that he wanted. Still struggled with his command. So I think this spring is going to be another trial period of him getting it all together. So unless he's giving up 5 runs a start and the hard contact is pouring out, I'm not really going to be concerned. I just want him to get right and get comfortable again, because I know that, I don't know. I feel like that was probably the biggest culprit for his inability to get back on track in the second half of last year. Will Warren, I agree with you. Like, you can't erase the starts against the Dodgers and the Blue Jays where he gets tattooed, or any of the other better offenses that he faced. But at the same time, like, how much, Yankees fans, I'm asking you, do you think every rookie is just going to come in and start dicing up opposing lineups? Like, Will Warren made 33 starts last year. If he's getting rocked by the best offenses and he's handling the mid and lesser ones, to me, that's fine, because he's always going to have stuff to work on. No 23, 24, 25-year-old has it all figured out. So if anything, the 2025 sample size with the Yankees showed that maybe there is an approach with him versus the better lineups or the more aggressive hitting lineups that he needs to amend and figure it out. And if he doesn't, okay, great. Then we know he's maybe not good, or he has a certain ceiling that he can only take on the bottom 15 offenses in the league. But I mean, we're not going to delete them, but we're also not going to say, oh, well, you can't pitch this guy in a big game ever again because you saw what he did his rookie season against the best offenses. It's like, no, he's going to need another year, maybe 2 years, to get comfortable facing that type of competition. Not every prospect is ready to get thrown in there and start carving up the Dodgers. Domínguez is, I think, eternally a concern, though. And you look at what he's doing this spring. I think the defense has improved outside of that bobble. Like, I saw him track down a few liners throughout this spring. That's progress based on what happened last year.
Not to be Mr. like one game anecdotal guy, but yesterday somebody rocked a line drive to left. He got an immediate jump on it, snagged it with no problem. And it was like, I didn't see that a lot last year. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, again, not anointing him automatically improved defender, but what did we just say? You get to spring, just make sure you're not doing anything egregious. And he's tracking down the line drives. He's positioning himself right. It's steps toward what Yankees fans are looking for. They're looking for improved defense in left field, which is where he's going to be able to make his biggest mark. But the other side of it is the right-handed hitting. He is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts as a right-handed hitter against lefty pitchers. Is that an indictment already? Is he out? Is he starting the year in AAA? That's settling it? No, it's not. But again, there are 2 things that Jason Domínguez needs to improve upon. It's the defense and it's the right-handed hitting. Now he has to dig himself out of a hole with the right-handed hitting, and it's not a good place to be in if it's affecting your confidence. And I don't know what's going through his head. He seemed pretty great on all these interviews when the reporters are asking him questions, but that's the biggest thing, because the Yankees, as currently constructed, cannot go any further with another left-handed hitter in the lineup that is going to struggle against left-handed pitching, or a right-handed bat that is unable to produce anything. His hitting, what's confused me the most with the Yankees is that this is not a new phenomenon with Jason Domínguez. If you go look through all of his minor league splits, he has been an average to bad right-handed hitter in the minor leagues for his entire career. And I know his entire career hasn't spanned a whole that long of a time, but I don't know on what planet, if he's not producing exemplary results at single A and high A and even double A, why you would think that we are going to see an improvement at triple A and at the major league level. So you watch Jason Domínguez's progress across every level, hitting from the right side of the plate. It progressively gets worse. He's a natural right-handed hitter. I don't understand how this happened or why it happened, but I think that he is running out of time to prove that he's able to do this, because it's not like he was at single A and high A hitting 15 homers from the right side of the plate and laying waste to left-handed pitching. That was never the case with Jason Domínguez. So for what the Yankees need and what they're looking for, I think the best bet is to hope. You're hoping that the man turns it around and can hit right-handed pitching. And if not, you say you're batting lefty, you're building your stock, and we're either going to figure it out at the major league level to carve a lane for you, or you're getting traded for something that we need. And I agree with you. I do not want him traded. I want him to realize his potential here, but I just don't know how much time there is to prove that he can bat right-handed. And they're outside of, Trent Grisham leaving after 2026 because he's under a 1-year deal, or maybe Trent Grisham getting traded after the January 15th deadline for qualifying offer players to get moved. I don't know where Jason Domínguez will fit in. And I don't know at this rate if Spencer Jones is outperforming him defensively and on the left side of the plate. I think it's a no-brainer. The Yankees are going to prioritize him for 2027 and beyond if that's what's happening. So I'm rooting for Jason Domínguez. I'm hoping for the best. I want all these prospects to be good and to force the issue with the front office and Aaron Boone, but there's a timestamp on this right-handed stuff, and 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts already is just, it's not good.
I'm glad you mentioned Jones, because in terms of the hot starts that I worry are mirages a little bit. I mean, you worry every time you see Spencer Jones do something great that the strikeout stuff and all that stuff is about to rear its ugly head around the corner. I'm more concerned about the Ohtani tweet than I am about Spencer Jones. Stop it with the Ohtani tweet.
Why'd they do that?
You covered this like that is meant to make Yankee fans look like shit. Like, who is that for? Nobody who isn't a Yankee fan is going to interact positively with that tweet. Not a person alive who's in Cincinnati is going to be like, wow, it does seem like Yankees prospect Spencer Jones is starting to have this sort of Shohei Ohtani vibe to his swing. I think I'll retweet that. That belongs on my feed. I find that interesting. That is for, and guess what? Yankee fans, it's not for them either. Like, there's no Yankee fan delusional enough to be like, wow, Ohtani 2.0, I think we've got him. Spencer Jones, mash that retweet button. So that is designed to annoy everyone. It annoys Yankee fans who now have to deal with all this shit. And for some reason, we have to defend Spencer Jones against MLB saying he's got Ohtani swing. And Red Sox fans don't have to defend their guy, who they're like teenage prospect who's like, I'm like Aaron Judge. He said that himself. He's like, I'm like Aaron Judge. And everyone out there is like, yeah, he is. He's big. He's like Aaron Judge. MLB is like, Spencer Jones copied Ohtani's batting stance. And they're like, oh, delusional Yankee fans, this is crazy. We didn't tweet that. We'll never tweet that. Spencer Jones hit a ridiculous home run. We don't need that tweet. That does nothing for anyone. But shout out to Spencer Jones, who, you're right, shown a little more consistency than Domínguez so far. I got my eye on Kervin Castro in the bullpen. It's weird. Okay. He's on the 40-man roster, so I have to watch him. He doesn't get swings and misses, but he quietly gets the job done. So keep showing him to me. He was funky last year, all year. He had a high walk rate in the high minors, but like, if I got to look at him, I'd like to keep watching him, please. And then Jake Bird, I don't know if he belongs here. I don't know if this is nice to him to do this, but 2 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 3 Ks, and no walks so far. No walks. The first walk, I'll tweet Jake Bird has walked his first batter. It mostly is just PTSD with this guy, where I'm still like, the only reason not to trust it is because of what I watched last year. But I keep hearing he's a new man and he looks like a new man. And really the old Jake Bird was totally passable. The one we got was abominable. So I don't expect him to be our future closer. I don't know if he'll be a setup man. I don't know how much work Matt Blake has left to do, but so far so good. I'm just cautiously optimistic.
I agree. I also forgot to mention Camilo Duvall. I know he's only pitched 1 inning, but he's already given up a homer.
He just came in and gave up a home run to the first batter he faced.
Oh, that was just now?
That was today. He came in and made his spring debut and gave up a home run to Ben Gamel to start.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see him. I haven't seen him. And when I was checking the stats a few minutes ago, I was like, oh, Camilo Duvall came into a game. When did that happen?
Yeah. Did Bednar have an inning before yesterday? Because he showed up yesterday. It was very nice to see him.
I don't believe he did. Yeah, he did. Did he pitch today yet? I don't know what's going on right now.
No, I don't
Bednar
think so.
has 2 innings under his belt.
For me.
Yeah, Bednar has 2 innings under his belt. Duvall has 1. He gave up 2 hits. 1 was a homer, and he struck out 2. But I mean, who was the homer to? Who were playing the Braves today? If he came in this late in the game, there can't be this many.
No,
starters.
it was Ben Gamble. He took a hanging 3-1s. He tried to do a get me over slider on 3-1, and he just hooked it out.
Yeah, I mean, it just look again. I'm hoping he's good, but that is somebody who I truly believe the Giants were just dying to get off of. They didn't want to pay those arbitration salaries. They saw him get to the peak of his performance in the bullpen and have watched it be squandered ever since. And they offloaded the problem on the Yankees. And I'm just not sure that the Yankees are going to be able to solve this one. I pray, but the first time you come in for spring training and you give up a home run to a fringe major leaguer, it's just like, I'm not saying that he's not going to be a fit in the bullpen, but it's the worst possible start you can have after how you delivered after the trade deadline last year.
Yeah, not fantastic. And that is our whole bullpen. A bunch of Fernando Cruz looked disgusting yesterday. So
he's great.
Hang my hat on that. He was also full animated Fernando Cruz mode, like blowing his lips out.
On the Yankees social media, he's been great.
Yeah, he was phenomenal yesterday. And I missed Tim Hill again. You think you're going to get in this Uber crunch, and then it turns out you don't need to worry about anything. And I was like, there's no one left for me. I don't need to watch the rest of these guys respectfully. I got to go to bed. And then I noticed there's a 6-second long inning, and I'm like, damn, who did that? Tim Hill. Of course he did. Shout out to Tim Hill, as always. Well, we're going to get a flood of comments that say, you guys don't even watch the spring training games, to which we say, we try, but also
watch some of them. Yeah. I mean,
one
wasn't on the other day. I couldn't even watch one. Or
they don't want to show you. The Gotham app does not want to show you spring training baseball. It actually hates when you watch spring training baseball in any capacity. MLB.com is still showing Bednar game logs from 2025 spring training.
Yeah.
So if anyone can solve that mystery for me, that would be great. But he looked pretty good yesterday. He hung one, and Lombard made an incredible play to save him on just like a pretty beefy splitter. But he's the man. Don't overexert yourself. Do what you have to do. I just love the backfield. Sorry, the backfield part of spring training is better than the game part. Hot take. If you want to punish me for that, come at me. I'm at Adam Weinreb on Twitter. Thomas Carinante, where can the people find you?
I am at Tommy's_takes. Come at me. We can have plenty of discussions. We'll have a good time. We are both at the official Yanks Go Yard account on social media. That's at Yanks Go Yard FS. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course. That's how you guys will know when we're going live. Appreciate you guys listening 2 times a week. We're trying. We're getting there. We're almost we got a month until the season starts. Mm-hmm. And lastly, yanksgoyard.com. That's where all the written content is for you. Plenty of stuff we're keeping track of throughout the Yankee spring training that we're not discussing on the podcast. So please head on over there, support us and our other writers. We appreciate it greatly. And until then, have yourselves a good weekend. Maybe we'll have some talking points on Monday. Who knows?
I think so. Take care, everybody. If you see someone you like in spring training, weigh in, let us know. We'll write about it, or we'll talk about it, or a little bit of both. Until Monday's show, I'm Adam